Contracts are in your everyday life, most of the time without you even realizing. Buying a coffee, going to a concert, signing up to Facebook, all have contracts that you agree to. But what makes a valid contract? For starters, an intention to make a legally binding contract must be present. Most of the time, this doesn't include agreements made within your family. In the case of Balfour v. Balfour, on a trip to England, the wife fell sick and was unable to travel. Agreeing to pay her £30 a month, her husband travelled back home while the wife remained in hospital. However, no money was transferred. In this case, due to it being an agreement made within the family, the court found that it was invalid. Once intent has been made, an offer must be in place, made by the offerer to the offeree. If the offer is accepted, the offeree will be bound to the contract in all of its terms and conditions. Sometimes during the offering process, a counter-offer can be made, cancelling out the original offer and setting a new line of terms and conditions. Another exemption of an offer are things like advertisements, as they usually don't count as offers, but what we call an invitation treat. A classic example of this is the Partridge v. Critten, where an ad was made selling Bramblefinch birds that were illegal to sell at the time, but due to it being an invitation to treat, it wasn't an offer. Once the offer has been made, acceptance of those terms and conditions by the buyer, whether it be oral or written down, are then carried out. The agreement must mirror the offer made, or legal pursuit can be carried out. Finally, consideration must be made. This is where each party supplies the agreed upon terms and follows the contract's agreements. One of the most important sections of contract law is capacity, and that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. In the presumption of law, a person who enters a contract has to be fully capable of understanding and agreeing to the terms. Groups including people who are minors, intoxicated, or have a mental disorder can't make agreements on their own behalf. If a contract is entered into by one of these groups, the contract can be voided. This means that no legal effect of the action can be taken upon by the party. By being under 18 or a minor, you lack the capacity to enter into legally binding contracts. However, like everything, there are exceptions. If the agreement made by a minor are necessities like food, clothes, or drinks, these are not confined to things that are needed to maintain life, but rather their own personal lifestyle. I'm sure most of you have a job, and with that job, you signed a contract. Although underage, this contract benefits you through the payment of money, which therefore you can spend on necessities. This is what we call an agreement of beneficial contract of service. If a contract is classified not to be beneficial or necessary, it can still be binding if it is a long-term agreement that is planned to be confirmed or ratified when you turn 18. An example of one of these exemptions is Nash v. Inman. Inman, a Cambridge undergraduate student, with amongst other things bought 11 fancy waistcoats. Inman was a minor who was already adequately supplied with clothes by his father. When Nash, the shopkeeper, claimed the cost of these clothes, Inman sought to rely on lack of capacity and succeeded at first. But the court found that the waistcoats were not necessities, as he had already been supplied sufficient and adequate clothing from his father. Capacity in terms of minors is a popular concept when we look into contract law. With the world we live in today, arguments can be formed when debating whether the age bracket should be changed. Mobile phone plans in particular are a very valid argument. For these, you have to be over 18 to get into one of these plans, but kids as young as 10 have mobile devices with data plans on them. Currently, New South Wales is the only state that has granted the right for minors to enter into all manners of contractual relationships. This is done via the Minors Property and Contracts Act. The rest of Australia? Too bad, your parents are in charge of that. A solution to this issue is if the Australian government was to make a federal law similar to New South Wales where minors could enter into contracts that relate to their necessities and aid their lifestyle. This means that you would have full responsibility for the things you choose to do on your phone and with your life. Well, that's capacity for you. You've learned about the basics of contracts and what there is to know about capacity and the rules about being your age. This is Law Learning. See you next time.